When Roger Lilley of Aarchive Film Productions first encountered home movies, he was just 7 years old. And even to this day he can recall the moment when his father presented him with a 9.5mm movie projector, a memory that he still treasures. And since he was 7, film has been a major part of his life. Today, at the age of 50, Roger is a lecturer in accountancy and taxation, but he still holds on to the film tradition and is a partner in one of Plymouth's leading documentary filmmakers. Roger left school in 1961 and, prompted by his intense interest and love of films, trained as a projectionist at the Drake Cinema in Plymouth. After 18 months, he felt the prospects were poor, so he attended college for 5 years and became a qualified accountant at the age of 21. But enthusiasm for films were in his blood. 1974 saw the opening of the Plymouth Home Movie Centre, one of Plymouth's first 8mm sound film libraries, with his wife Jill. And for the next 20 years, they became leaders in the distribution of 8mm package movies, the forerunner to home video. During this time, they've supplied 8mm features, cartoons and shorts to customers all over the world. Serious collectors that want to keep the cinema alive, so collect films that they refer to as real movies. A copy of a second-hand film can cost anything up to £200, but film buffs today, totally rejecting video, build their own private cinemas complete with projection rooms, curtains and, of course, stereophonic sound. In 1988, Roger contracted with the Rank organisation to distribute a number of their classic features on 8mm, including In Which We Serve, shot partially in Plymouth, and Noel Coward's Brief Encounter, starring Trevor Howard and Celia Johnson. Whilst the films were printed at Brank Laboratories, Roger's company invested in a unique system of 8mm sound equipment, the original soundtracks added at the laboratories in Plymstock. With premises in Plymouth's Embankment Road at the height of the 8mm boom, many Plymouth homes switched off their televisions for an evening's entertainment on the big screen. But it was at Cathcart Avenue in Prince Rock that things really took off in 1973, and it was from here that the 8mm market flourished in its early days. As dealers, Roger and Jill regularly attended film conventions at sites all over England. Here the Winchester Convention is in full swing, accommodating collectors from all over the UK and Europe. At each venue, a large-screen cinema was organised to show many of the films that could be purchased from the dozens of dealers present, including, of course, Aarchive Films. Alan Collins, a serious film collector and a customer of Roger for many years, has his own private cinema built into an attic in his home in Lilley, Plymouth. Alan's love for the classic cinema prompted him to collect hundreds of package movies, but he gives pride of place to the old musicals, and in his vast collection he owns copies of such classics as The Sound of Music in full cinemascope and stereophonic sound, plus many other cinema blockbusters, including No Business Like Show Business and a host of Walt Disney feature cartoons. When sitting in Alan's miniature auditorium on real cinema seats, it is as though you are at the real cinema, with soundproof projection room and even lights that are dimmed at appropriate times. Alan not only purchases his films from the UK, but scans the international collectors' magazines for rare prints, particularly from the USA. To him, film is the only authentic entertainment medium, and like many collectors, he believes that video is second-rate and partly responsible for killing the cinema as it used to be in the 1950s and 60s. Hence he's determined to keep an old tradition alive. By 1988, the use of cine cameras had declined dramatically in favour of video, which proved to be a much cheaper medium of storage. It was about this time that a lady from Bodmin in Cornwall approached Roger to ask if he could transfer her old 16mm movies to videotape. He immediately agreed to experiment, and with his son Philip realised that there was an extensive market to be tapped. Since 1988, Aarchive Film to Video has become a leader in this unique process, investing many thousands of pounds in highly specialist equipment, much of which was designed by Roger and Philip themselves. Coupled with over 20 years' experience in film technique, This enabled them to cope with all gauges and virtually any age of film. One particular batch that Roger remembers was literally stuck to the spool and very brittle. After careful treatment, during which time the films were gradually coated with a special substance that not only reduced the risk of breaking, but even covered much of the scratching, the original images were preserved and enhanced to the delight of a customer who was able to watch her relatives from almost 70 years ago. In 1995, some old 16mm footage was handed to Roger by a customer who had previously asked him to transfer his wedding to video. It turned out to be images of the old Saltash ferry from the late 1930s, together with a journey on the Turnchapel ferry from Arreston across the Catwater and into the Barbican. Roger immediately saw the potential and produced a documentary involving not only his son Philip, but his father also, 3 generations of the Lilley family. The film was Plymouth's Historical Ferries and Bridges, and it became an immediate bestseller. Later, in the spring of 1995, Aarchive's all-time bestseller was released, namely Plymouth's Rise from the Ashes. Realising the need for more professional filming facilities, Roger and Phil teamed up with Roger Underwood, a highly professional cameraman and ex-employee of one of Devon's leading television broadcasting companies. The result? Plymouth's Rise from the Ashes became a top 10 bestseller in Plymouth and was highly acclaimed by the local press, who had already given Ferries and Bridges excellent reviews. The Plymouth Dome, under the direction of Wyn Scott, sponsored the launch of Rise from the Ashes, and since then Aarchive Films have never really looked back. Many thousands of feet of archive footage has found its way into the library, and interest by the media and press has grown steadily. What made the teaming up with Roger Underwood so special was that both Rogers worked together some 35 years ago in the projection room at Plymouth Drake Cinema as trainees. Rise from the Ashes contained over 35 minutes of unique 16mm footage of the rebuilding of Plymouth after the devastation of World War II. The images were so rare that both local TV stations asked to screen sections of the film during the year of the end of the war celebrations of 1995. Since then, the unique footage has been screened a number of times by local TV networks in view of its rarity. Copies of Rise from the Ashes have winged their way to Australia, New Zealand, USA, Canada and many parts of Europe. Originally, Rise from the Ashes was to be a 35-minute presentation, but further footage of Plymouth's development was found from another source, that of Reg Blackett, a cinematographer of many years standing. Reg, now retired, has been a film enthusiast for most of his life, and here he demonstrates how he saved some of the earliest archive material of Plymouth from oblivion. Found literally in an attic was this roll of 35mm nitrate film containing images of old Plymouth, including its pier in 1922. The film had deteriorated so badly that Reg found it necessary to build a film printer in order to transfer the old film to a new 16mm negative, a labour of love indeed. The result was so unique that Roger decided to release it in its entirety as a 30-minute documentary. Instead of a commentary, a Scott Joplin musical track was added, and the film was released under the title of Plymouth's Roaring Twenties.
Taking over for the narration now is Phil, Roger's son. The video that you have just watched was originally shot in 1995. Sadly, Dad passed away in 2001, but I still run Aarchive Films. I am still transferring home movie cine film, although now to digital, and I have been digitally remastering the videos that we made to be able to stream them online on our growing YouTube channel. Aarchive Films was his inheritance to me, and I know that he will be glad that people are still trusting Aarchive with their precious home movies and enjoying the content of the videos that we made. In total, we made about 26 videos about the history of Plymouth and the railways in the southwest. Some of the titles include Back Along North Devon Lines, telling the story of the rail line from Exeter to Barnstable and from Ilfracombe to Braunton. Plymouth to Launceston via Tavistock South, which includes exclusive archive footage of the last train to run on the 29th of December in 1962. Yeovilton to Princetown rails across the moor, which follows the railway line across the beautiful National Park of Dartmoor in Devon. The last train to Callington, told with archive movie footage and helicopter shots of the trackbed today. A full list of all the titles that we made are on our website, and more are being added to our YouTube channel. I am turning my attention back to making more and more of the historical railway videos. There will always be new content on the website and our social media and our YouTube channel for all of those who enjoy history on the move.